Sex Addiction and Breakup. This story isn't to seek advice as such, more to understand and make closure with strangers surrounding my breakup with my ex-boyfriend, M24. I am F28 after 2 years together. Ex-boyfriend had a very high sex drive whilst we were together. At times I found it hard to keep up but always felt quite flattered, as I perceived his attraction for me must have been incredibly strong to be this way. He is 6'7", so handsome, well-educated, holds a room so well. My family and every one of my friends adored him. We were like two peas in a pod, so compatible on so many levels. We just understood one another, and I genuinely felt I met my soulmate and would go on to marry him. I knew H during our dating period, non-exclusive. He slept with another woman. This left a bit of a dent in my trust for him, and so I held on to a lot of suspicion which grew bigger and bigger. This time last year, I went through his emails and saw signups and email receipts to loads of webcam porn sites, as well as a sign-up to Adult Work and Ashley Madison, Benatti, Field. He admitted the signups to cam sites were just trying something new, and the signups to these casual affairs sites were to explore finding a non-sexual sugar mummy, he was broke at the time, and that he would never ever cheat on me. His behavior and words from his friends about how he became a changed man made me believe him, but my suspicions stayed. I didn't have hard evidence of the cheating, and he deleted all of the accounts as soon as I caught him and asked him to. Fast forward 1 year, and he moved to London and seemed to gradually become quite depressed. On a camping trip, I discovered a text exchange on his phone, which I later discovered was an escort, was just logistical messages, sending an address and updating on his whereabouts. Before confronting him, I asked him if he loved me, to which he replied, "Of course I do, babe. What are you talking about?" Then I asked him where he was that night, and he quickly tried to delete the messages, not realizing I'd already taken a photo of them on my phone. Then he lied and said he visited his ex. Then I asked him again whether he loved me, and panic flooded his eyes. "I think so," he replied. My world caved in. After persistent probing, he finally admitted it was an escort. He then explained how depressed he felt, and how he felt disconnected from me, his friends, and his family. Nothing made him happy anymore, and he felt so lonely. He said he couldn't figure out whether it was our relationship making him depressed, or whether the depression was making him question our relationship. I couldn't understand. I hadn't changed as a person. He hadn't withdrawn from seeing me. We weren't arguing. He also insisted the escort visit was a one-off mistake, that he took a few steps into the escort's flat, and then quickly backed out of the endeavor. We rekindled a week later. He reminded me how happy he was that we were on the right track, said he loved me and just needed time to figure out how he could be the best for me, because it wasn't going to be easy. It'd be like starting from square one again. He said a range of things, such as believing we were soulmates, wanting to eventually marry me and have children with me. A week after that, I went through his work phone and discovered the escort visits had been going on our whole relationship. Each time he was asking for 15 minutes. When I confronted him, he claimed they were only quick Thai massages and happy endings. Later that night, he tried to hold me as I slept, saying he was going to fix this, and wanted to stop lying to me and lying to himself. He was desperately ashamed, but couldn't explain his behavior or why he did it. He just agreed it was a problem. I insisted on him coming along to couples counseling, but he was incredibly detached during the sessions. Still, we tried to fix things, but it left a massive dent in my trust. The whole ordeal was the worst 5 weeks of my life. During this time, he still told me he loved me. We still engaged in sex, but he became more distant from me. Our breakup. Fast forward another week or so, I go on a short holiday abroad for a family wedding. He was looking at flights to come out and join me, but couldn't make it work with his job. While out there, I said to him, "I am not sure if being alone is a trigger for urge temptations for you, but please don't let it." He was alone as his flatmates were also at a festival, to which he promised it would never happen again, and he wouldn't jeopardize our progress, and that we were on the right track. A few days later, I go to his, and he's showing me something on his computer. I see an email saying, "Your Tuesday evening trip with Uber," and thought, what the hell is that? He was working from home all week? This was that Thursday. Anyway, he went to go and see friends, and then when he got home late, I quizzed him on the Uber trip as it played on my mind all day. "Where were you that night?" I asked him as he was supposed to be working from home. He said he went for a mental health distress walk and then went to the pub for a drink by himself. I knew something was off, as this isn't something he'd usually do. He claimed he didn't tell me because he didn't want me to worry. I ask him to show me the Uber receipt, and he does. And whilst there's a pub there, 2 doors down is a Thai massage parlor. He then starts huffing and puffing, saying, "I don't know if I can do this much longer," and explains that he started to associate our relationship and me with general feelings of unhappiness. I suggest we break up, and he questions why I say it so nonchalantly. Then the following morning, I ask if he loves me again, to which he says, "I don't know," explaining he's felt that way for a while and has finally accepted he doesn't. We break up and have gone no contact since. I feel devastated, but know it's for the best. A big part of me knows this is classic deflection and denial, because he only ever questioned his love for me and our relationship immediately after the first revelation. It's like he knew I had just scratched away at the tip of the iceberg with the first text, and that I would continue to find out the enormity of this addiction. Before I left his flat, I asked him whether he thought the relationship was worth saving, to which he replied, "You know I do. I just don't think I can," going completely against the narrative of falling out of love. He said he loved our relationship and apologized for ruining it, as he sobbed, but insisted we had to break up. I know this is the best outcome, but I feel so sad. Why didn't he try to fight for it more and beg for me? He simply broke up with me and made me feel so unloved in the process.